We came to Edmonton in '61, moved into this house in '63, and I've kind of stayed in the neighborhood. And we were not sure if we should actually move or just stay here. I've always kind of had a little bit of a problem with the urban sprawl. You know, rather than watching the core decay, I figured I'd actually put my money where my mouth is and be part of the solution. And I'm very happy with the decision to stay here and to put something up. It's really funny, even in choosing a builder, I kept circling back to Timber Haus. I thought, okay, well, let's at least put something out there. And like, you responded extremely quickly. But to have you as president and John as vice president to actually come meet for coffee, let's try to work through things, let's see what we can do. Don't sweat it, there's a solution, we'll come up with something. I think that says an awful lot. There's that richness. You know, and I think that's what it's about too, that richness in life. That's part of the whole thing where it's enjoyable. You guys did an amazing job. The house that you put up is about twice the size of what it was before, but the really funny thing is the layout, at least on the main floor, is very similar. Granted, it's a lot more spacious. A lot of thought went into it and thinking about the future as well, that if it got to the point where I couldn't do stairs anymore, there's a room that can be used as an office that can then be converted that can be a bedroom. It has a lot of those elements there. People that do come through, they love the house, and I love showing it off, especially with some of the little hidden gems in there. There's stuff you don't quite expect. One thing when you're coming in here, people will just think that this is just a wall, that you know, you've got the living room in there. But what I like is the fact that you just open it up and you've got another room. Like, it's a good size. This thing is great. And what we have here is what looks like a regular bathroom. So you just come in here and most people stop and they kind of go, yeah, okay, fine, it's a bathroom. But when you come through, we have something a little bit more than that. And we have a 14-foot swim spa in here. One of the things that's kind of neat about this house as well is that it has double en-suites. So we have, you know, essentially 2 main bedrooms. I love having a loft space as well, so it's essentially a second living room. Like, you know, the windows here, the amount of space that they take up and the amount of light they let in, like it's just amazing. I mean, the other thing is, like, transoms are great. Like, I've gone from stupidest idea ever to, wow, everybody should have them. It is an amazing group to deal with, and it doesn't matter at what level your contractors that you hired were awesome as well. I mean, there's a point in time there where I was going, okay, you know what? You guys are just way too sweet. I'm going to become diabetic with all of your sugar. And there were times where it's, yeah, I've had some of those darker moments, and I tried dragging you down with me, but you wouldn't take the bait. I think the basis for a lot of that relationship is that there's that deep respect. You have that deep respect for people, you know, and I think you all do. It's something you can't really define, you can't explain it necessarily, but you know, there's that feeling, and it just kind of grows. I think what probably really defines the level of service, shortly after moving in, the alarm upstairs, for whatever reason, had a glitch in it or something, so, you know, 11 o'clock at night, it went off. And when I talked to Ryan about that, his response was, well, why didn't you call me? You know, it's like, Ryan, I'm not going to call you at midnight. You know, but he was perfectly willing to do that, and I know he's also dealt with the neighbors, he's dealt with that, and when you speak of neighbors, that was another thing where I was quite happy to ignore the neighbors, because that's what everybody else did. Nobody has ever approached the neighbors and, you know, tried to mitigate any of the disruptions or whatever. But then you guys had to come along and go, no, we're going to talk to all of your neighbors and we're going to do this. But like, having gone through the process, I think we all learned, I know I did too, just how important it was to have those relationships. And one of the neighbors was, actually a couple of them were very impressed with you. Even said, oh, you guys, you chose a good builder. It does say a lot. And I think that's what makes it a lot easier working together.